Welcome back. Welcome back to the Here and Now show. I am your host, Lavonda Ray, and I just want to say welcome, you guys, and give you guys a moment to feel the music a little bit and get into the moment with me. So I'll give you guys a few seconds before we get started. By the way, this is my own cup here that I've designed. Relax and read. If you're interested in, getting a cup like this, you can definitely email me. Welcome to the Here and Now show. I'm your host, Lavonda Ray. The time is now, the place is here, and that means something. So, hello, everybody, and hello, somebody. Thank you for tuning in. As always, this show, the Here and Now show, is a show that I have created with events that I went through in my life, and I took those events and changed them into positive living. This is also a show where you could come and it creates a space where you can talk about your feelings without judgment. So let it be, let things be, and let's just enjoy this moment. And if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave a comment in the comment jar. Feel free to give me a call because I believe and I'm a firm believer that our voices matter and without judgment. And if you've tuned into my show before, you know that I'm from the Midwest, where we come in, show in, and we show out. You gotta love your city. You just gotta love it. So, with that being said, let's start the show. Thank you so much. So, my last show, I spoke about boundaries and respect. And so this particular show that I'm doing today is a spin-off from that. And always remember that when you set your boundaries, setting boundaries does not mean you're selfish, but it's necessary for self-respect. So, and basically that was what my show was speaking on last week when I was in the studio speaking on boundaries. And so today's topic is to me is a very good topic. It's a spinoff. It's kind of fall in the same category, so that way we can kind of stay in alignment and understand that there's boundaries and then there's respect and then there's, as my topic is, self love versus self doubt. Self worth is so powerful, and how powerful self doubt is, and having self doubt is very powerful and very scary. But having self love and self worth is way more powerful. So, you know, if you can, and you want to live or try to live and continue to live a peaceful life, you'll understand and maybe understand some of the things that I'm talking about. Maybe we can take this journey together, you know, um, because it's not easy to break generation cycles of self doubt, and it's not easy. I don't know, is it learned behavior or I feel like I have no neck? Is self doubt more or less of learned behavior or is it family inherited? I don't know. Let's try to put it on the brighter side and maybe let's talk about it because I love you guys and I want us all to be on the same page because when you're on the same page and everybody's on the same alignment, the understanding is just so much clearer. You know, um, and I want all of us to be happy. I want to be happy. I want you to be happy. I don't want no one to be sad. Because life is too great to be sad. There are moments that you will be sad, and we can't stop those moments, but we can, have coping skills and we can manage. And a lot of times when I hear self doubt, I've said it, I lived it, I still live it sometimes because, again, like I said, I'm not perfect. So a lot of times when self doubt becomes certain things come out like I've heard and I've dealt with, like I said, I'm not good enough or, I can't do it because of what they think or, you know, um, what would they think if I do this? What would they think if I do that? And so you have all these doubts. But and understand that those those, having those doubts about, is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? Am I pretty enough? Am I good enough? I'll tell you that you are. And it's okay. I'm not saying that those feelings can't be validated, because it is okay. They're expected feelings that come through life. You know, in life, we just feel some type of way, but I'm trying to say that self doubt is definitely not the way. And so, I understand. So I understand that, but there is a blockage standing between self doubt and self love and who you are. And that inner thought. I always say, you know, when you go through certain trials of tribulations, you know, trying to find self love is probably one of the hardest things that you have to try to find within yourself, because if you don't know how to, you know, give self love, then the only thing that you might understand is self doubt. And that's never the way. And so it came to, I feel like that you stand in your inner thoughts. And I would say that the one step to helping yourself with self doubt is to choose yourself. Choose yourself over family and friends' expectations. So, let's say, one of your doubts or self doubts is what your friends and family may think of you. If you just choose self respect over family, friends, and expectations, because those thoughts of you would tear you down, and trying to have their expectations, you'll never live up to your own expectations, because you're too, inclined and trying to live up to their expectations, when at the end of the day, you are one body, one mind, and one soul. So your expectations of someone else, what they expect out of you, isn't necessarily what you have to do. You shouldn't. They shouldn't expect you. Before people, any family or friends should expect anything, you have to choose self respect for yourself first and foremost. You know, and I know once I seen once I seen this movie. You know, I'm trying to think. I seen this movie, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but it was a really good movie. I think it was wrote by Tyler Perry. And I was watching this movie, and this woman was speaking at a funeral of her best friend. And she was saying, after the woman had passed over, she was speaking, and she asked her, are you living? Are you dying? She said her friend once asked her, you know, are you living, Agnes? Or are you just existing? And that hit me, because I thought, like, oh, when I was going through my journey, and I still go through my journey of self love, and understanding that I am valuable, because I still go through it. So I'm not perfect, and I can't express that enough. I'm still traveling through it, and I'm getting better and better every day, and I'm growing with it. And I want people to grow with me. And as I sat there and I was traveling through my moment of self doubt, I thought I was just existing. Okay. Just existing. And I thought, what is just existing? Right? A rock just exists. A stop sign exists. This room is just existing, right? There's no life in the room. So I thought, I'm more than a rock. And you should think that too. You're more than just this room. This cup is just existing. This microphone is just existing. And I thought to myself, and you should think the same, because you're never just existing. You're way worth more than just a stop sign or a rock on the ground. And once that came into my mind, I thought, I'm not existing, I'm living. I'm living in the here and now, because living is to breathe again. Living is to try again. Living is to keep going, because if you're gracious enough to wake up and breathe again, you have the chance to what? Live again. And so I told myself, I'm no longer am going to allow myself to think that I am just existing. No, baby, I am living. Now I'm living with things that happen to me that in life that maybe I made the bad choices to make these things or have these things happen, or maybe I didn't. But I realized I wasn't just existing. And you're not just existing. I mean, living life is so priceless. It is. Wake up. So I was thinking, what's another way that we can break the cycle of self doubt within ourselves? I have an idea. How about we prioritize? Did I say that right? How about we take self care and oh my gosh, I'm having a total tongue twister. Right, I am not illiterate. Okay, you guys. So how about I have this idea? How about we take self care? Oh my gosh, guys, today it just doesn't seem to be my day. I'm having all these tongue twisters. You guys are gonna think, what the hell is this girl talking about? She's talking in circles. And it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about doing, but I'm just gonna go with it. So again, I'm not perfect. I've made about 30 mistakes in the last 30 minutes, in the last 11 minutes on this show. I wasted 3 clips on mistakes, but in order, I feel like, so to keep living, here's an idea that I have to keep self-doubt away. How about we take self-care and prioritize self-care with no negotiation. There's no negotiation with that. Meaning, I think that one, fit it into your week. Fit it into your week, no matter how busy you are. Prioritize self-care with no negotiation. Don't the no negotiation. Don't level up if you're busy. Take 5 minutes out of for yourself, and don't feel guilty about taking time out for yourself. You know what I mean? Whether taking time to love yourself for a second, whether that's you know, um, changing your hairstyle, putting on a new lipstick, or buying a new microphone, or doing something that you enjoy doing that is self-caring and self-giving for you, that makes you happy. I don't know, drink a different type of coffee, a different flavor. I don't know, but 5 minutes of caring for yourself. And again, don't feel guilty about it. Don't you feel guilty about it? You take time out for yourself. And I know that we all have excuses. I got the kids, I got to cook, I have this, and I have that. And we all have reasons. Money, the money's not right, my job, time, all that plays a part. But if you try it, it really has power that moves. It can't even explain how it really moves power. It is powerful how once you start to self-care yourself, things seem to get a little bit better. And you self-care, the self-care that you give yourself and the respect that you give yourself will show other people how to self-care themselves and respect. It will show your offsprings and other people that you have in their circle on how to conduct self-care for themselves. It's kind of like lead by an example, you know, because so many of us is hurting, and a lot of us is hurting in silence. A lot of us hurt quietly. And when you hurt quietly and you feel like there is no outlet, then that's when self-doubt comes in, and you feel like no one cares, and if they did, they're going to judge you. But actually, you're not the only one, for one, and actually people do care. You just have to understand that in order to do better, you have to go out and feel better. So if you fill yourself with words of encouragement, when you're feeling that self-doubt cloud come across you in your life, what are they going to think? Fuck them, first of all, because they do not control your future. You must remember that. Them, they don't control anything. They're only controlled of what you allow them to control. So you take self love. It is the first step to keeping self love is understanding your goal of what if, maybe your self love is beauty, fitness, and maybe, fitness as far as maybe you want to get a little bit thinner, or you're you want to gain a little more weight. Me myself, I'm more of I want to gain more weight because I'm kind of thin, and so I want to kind of have more weight. So a beauty thing for me was to gain more weight, eat more healthier. And, I'm not really an exercise person, so I wasn't, in the gym like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, but it was prioritize my beauty. So I started, eating more foods and healthier, and then prioritizing my beauty. And once I did that, I started meeting more people that, more men and other people that were attracted to my beauty. It was almost like when I didn't care about myself, I attracted all the wrong people. Like, oh my gosh, I got the when I didn't care how I was being treated, or when I accepted things that I shouldn't accept it from any type of behavior, it put me in a situation where I allowed people to treat me any way they wanted because they knew that, hey, I could treat her this way and she would accept it. So the whole time you're accepting things and you know that it doesn't feel good, but you're doing it to make someone else feel better or to keep your relationship, it'll tear you apart. Eventually, you'll find yourself many hours wondering why you did what you did, and that doubt will start to muster in you repeatedly and stronger and stronger. So I had to choose my mental and myself, the two M's, mental, myself. And when I chose me and I demanded my boundaries and I demanded self respect, and if I didn't get those boundaries and no one could, if the people that I was around, my family or friends, they didn't understand the boundaries or they disregarded it, then they can move around because at the end of the day, your mental health is more important than anything in this world. Is making sure that your mental health is steady. You know, you're not going to be perfect all the time, and we're not perfect. But if you can keep your mental health, your boundaries, and one way to keep your mental health from crashing is setting your boundaries and standing on your boundaries, making your yes be your yes and your no's be your no's. There's no room for maybe. There's no spin the block and take and going backwards because sometimes when you're in a self doubt mode and you're still trying to get out of self doubt, you tend to accept people who doesn't respect you or is not really meant to be in your life. And so you have a room full of self doubt people, and you're in a self doubt relationship where your mate doubts themselves. So now they're making you feel bad because they feel bad about themselves. And so the whole relationship is mental, it's draining, and now it puts you and possibly cripples your future because you want to move past it. In order to get away from something, you have to just like, understand that I believe that anything is possible. And I believe that if you want it, you can get it. Just like a relationship, if you want to get away from self doubt, and we know what self doubt is, that is doubting yourself all the time. There's no way that, I mean, it's possible, but there are wonderful things about you that you may not even know. So take the one step, which is take time out for yourself. 5 minutes a day, every day. Take that time out for yourself. Do something that you like and do that every day for like 30 days. Feed yourself with good thoughts. Or, go to bed, wake up with refreshing thoughts. And if you wake up not so good, you know what I mean? Put on a good music, play a song you like, alter your mind and let your day go better instead of being, oh man, my bus was late and I couldn't find this for work and I lost my keys and I. Okay. And that's why you know that you yourself have to understand that getting away from self doubt and staying away from self doubt will help you live a better, prosper, happier, abundant life. It's almost like if you're angry all your life, what do you think your life is going to be about? Everything you do is going to be angry. You look at someone, you're angry. They walk past, you're angry. Someone tries to be nice to you, you're angry. Or what I call the wonderful complainer. You complain about everything. You're never satisfied. You ever met those type of people? Never satisfied. You know, you can give them $1 million, they're never satisfied. And they want 10 million. You know, I've met people that like one time, you know, and people in general have a thing of, you know, if you don't have a strong self love and self respect, you know, like I have struggled with my weight. You know, I'm a thin girl. I'm currently 130 pounds. A lot of people don't say that weight, but at the time, you know, I was going from 115 to 120, you know, depending on my mental state. It wasn't, you know, a lot of times I was depressed and I didn't eat the way I should have, but I've grown from that, but it happens. And I was getting my weight up and I see an associate. She gives me this hug and she's like, oh my, it's so great to see you. And I'm like, oh, it's great to see you too. You know, it's been like, I think I hadn't seen her in like 6 months to almost 9 months. And I'm like, it's, you know, it's good to see you. You know, how are your kids? And she hugs me. She's like, oh, you're getting thin, you know? And my first thought was, bitch. But I said, well, you know, can't please everybody. And actually, I had been gaining weight. But what I'm saying is, you know, if I allowed that comment to scar me, then I would have been sad all day thinking, oh my God, you know, I've lost all this weight. And she noticed this. No, no, I feel great and I look great, you know. And people will try to tear you down in small ways. And that also creates self doubt, you know, because if that was a trigger for me, because my weight, and then someone telling me, oh no, you're losing more weight. You're losing more weight. You're losing more weight. Fuck you. And instead of saying that, I said, well, can't please everyone. And actually, I'm not trying to please you. The fuck all. So, you know, not trying to please other people. If you are the type of person that if I was a people pleaser, then I would have been, oh no, well, you know, I'm trying and, you know, it's just I've been going through a lot and then it's like, no, fuck that. We all go through a lot. It's how you overcome. hmm And one of ways you can overcome, like I said, is setting your boundaries, um, your respect as who you are as an individual. You know, whether that's in the work field or outside the work field, or just in society. Period. Respect is power. Don't overpower. Don't let the power go to your head because those are some that can be very dangerous for the person that you're putting the power upon. You know, you're the power and you're overpowering someone else because you have more knowledge, more skills, more season. You know, use that in a good way. Don't take advantage of people. People do it all the time. Their ending is never that great. You know. So also, you know, being a people pleaser, don't worry about people because what you eat don't make them shit. Please yourself. You know, if they don't like the way your hair is, you know, I have people say stuff about my hair. You know, I get some compliments, and then you know, I get people that just looks at it like, you know, it's nappy or what is it? And that's all racist. And you know, I don't really give a fuck because if I was a person of sadness or a people pleaser or worried about what people thought, like I used to, then I would change my whole hairstyle. I'm not finna change. I'm not finna change my personality to fit in with other people. And unfortunately, in life, a lot of us do that. We want to fit in with this certain group. So we want to act this way when we normally wouldn't do those things. And just remember, if you have to change who you are to fit inside of a group or to hang out with people, that's not the group for you. It may seem stupid, but if you have to dummy yourself down and be their clown and their follower because you want to be a part of their clique or their crew, that's never. Be your own sailor. No man's an island. Everybody needs somebody. As we all know, we come into the world depending. We come in the world with dependency. We come in the world needing love. We come in the world needing to be comfort, needing food. Not some people are born into the world and they don't get those things, but it doesn't matter. Either way you come out of naturally womb, you have the natural instinct to want to be loved. You know, so just remember that self-doubt and the power of saying no, self-doubt. Let's get that out of there. Let's work on, taking time out for yourself, not worrying about what people think, because what they think don't make you shit. Let's not worry about the things that you can't change. You can't change people, but you can change yourself. And you can always do better. So self-love over self-doubt. Self-love is powerful. It can change every aspect of your life, because once you have the self-love, you have the self-respect, you set your boundaries, you know where you're going, and can't no one throw you off your shit because you've been through the bullshit. So now you have your armor up. I'm not doing this no more. I'm going to do it this way. Guarantee you life will be abundant. You're going to have your rockets because life be life. But just remember, self-love, self-respect, set those damn boundaries, and keep your respect. Because at the end of the day, when you do all those things, you are training your mind and yourself, and you're preparing yourself for a much better future. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I am just a woman that's been through some things and been through some life events that I wanted to just share with the world, and maybe you can relate. And even if you can't, maybe you can understand. But at the end of the day, the time was here. The time is now. I love all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in. For those that did, for those that didn't, I am casting off. This has been wonderful. I'm just so excited. And I will be back on Thursday between 11 and 1. I'm sorry. There I go again. Between 11 and 11:30. I don't know why I said 11 and 1. Again, I'm not perfect, okay? So I'll be setting up her judging me. I mean, you can judge me, but don't do that. No good. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I love you. Remember, you're healthy, wealthy, and you're wise. And you can change anything. It's in the palm of your hand. You have the brain, you have the heart, and you got this. We got this here and now. Thank you. Enjoy. Oh, and let's not forget, let's tune it up, because you guys know I love my jazz music. So good evening. God bless. Until next Thursday. Self-respect over self-doubt, boundaries, and respect. And you're going to win every time.